So we have discussed in the last class in ADSL, so about what is the ADSL, so what kind of variables we will have in the ADSL, so what kind of information we can map into the ADSL from SGTM datasets. Okay, in that we have discussed some demographic. Aware the definition. So the most of the interviews, so they might ask this: what is the flag, and then what is the definition? Okay. So now we'll move to the today the treatment variables. Okay. When it comes to the treatment variables, when in any trial, if it's an intervention study means if the drug exposure are present. So without drug exposure, can any study exist? Can anyone know? Without test drug, we can conduct a clinical trial.
No, sir.
Anyone?
Like for placebo, we can conduct, or for control, we can conduct.
No, that will be there along with the test drug only. Apart from that, can I expect without test drug, can we conduct a clinical trial?
No, sir.
Why no? We can, right? So we have the phase 1, 2, 3 studies. Okay, the phase 1, 2, 3 is the test drug related, like phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, safety and efficacy. When it comes to the phase 4, it's the most of the post-marketing surveillances or non-intervention studies or the observation studies. So basically, when the drug is released in the market, there they will not give any particular test drug. So who are taking the drug, okay, that particular patients, they'll enroll in the study, they will follow up the things. Okay, it's observational study. There we don't have a scope of the test drug, so we don't have the exposure related information much. Okay, so yeah. So we have the treatment related information in the main into the clinical trials up to phase 1, 2, 3. Okay. So the phase 4, we have the phase 4 studies, that is the post-marketing surveillance or the like real world studies or the non-intervention studies, we can say observational studies. These are the commonly known as these phase 4 studies. Okay. But anyway, the treatment, right, in any particular clinical, the treatment related information is very, very important. When it comes to the SGTM diagram, the treatment related information, some key important things we can map into the ADSL. So what are those variables? How we can map it? We can see it. Okay. So if you can see that, explain the planned and actual treatments from the lifetime of the study. So basically the treatment variables planned and actual. Okay. So if you know in the SDTM DM domain also we have a planned arm and actual arm. So what is the planned path and then what is the treatment they have assigned to the particular study. Okay. So for example, what treatment they have been assigned, what treatment they have actually taken. So it's a planned and actual arm. Does everyone know? So likewise in ADAM also we'll have the planned and actual treatment lifetime of the study. So that we can that information we can map into the ADSL. The treatment information can be shown on a study, individual or pooled basis. Okay. So the treatment information can be the most of the cases would be the individual or the pooled basis. Pooled basis means some group of things. Okay. So or else, for example, with the pool, we can say the pool study. So the pool study is nothing but the one of the clinical trial is present, the another sub or subgroup thing, not subgroup 3, we can say that okay, some exploratory thing they can, they want to do additional clinical trial. From this particular clinical trial, they will pool the data to the another trial. Okay, they will not conduct the trial, they will pool the data for other trial. So that we can say the pooled trials. Okay, so yeah. So can be used in order to derive treatment related variables in BDS dataset. Okay. So these treatment variables, okay, we can use that into the BDS derived treatment variables. What is the BDS? We have discussed right in the first class in Adam. What is the BDS?
Basic data structure.
Yeah, the basic data structure we have discussed, right? So BDS is one of the category, okay? So the ADSL, BDS, and then occurrence data structure. These are the three classification of the ADAM data set, okay? So we can see some treatment variables in ADSL, okay? This is the arm. Arm is nothing description of the plan, everyone know, okay? Actual arm. So this is also straightforward from SGTM, okay? So the description of the actual arm. So here is the TRP XXP. So remember these XX, YY, all these we can numeric incremental 1, 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, 0, 4. In Adam you can commonly see XX, YY, ZZ. Okay. So I mean why we require this, okay, 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3. So when the data is in vertical nature, or if you can see in the ADS is also one record per subject. Okay, it means one record, one subject will have only one record in the ADSL. So if we have the multiple treatments, then how can we come to the treatment information into the ADSL? Obviously, we can add the variables, multiple variables, right? So that's what. So the TRT-XXP, TRT-XXPN. Okay, as I said, each and every variable will have the numeric variable in Adam level, most of the cases. Why? Because it is the analysis convenient purpose. So the TRT is the treatment, okay. So the basically TRT01P, TRT02P, TRT03P based on your how many treatments exist in the trial. Remember, okay. So we have the only one TRT01P, we can say, okay. So the planned treatment for the period, we can say the P stands for the period, remember. So the TRT01PN is a numeric variable, okay. So then again, likewise the P is the, okay, like it's a planned one, like the A, there is the actual one, okay. It's a planned one, it's actual one. So TRT01A, TRT02A, TRT03A, likewise the TRT01AN, TRT02AN, TRT03AN. So it means planned and actual variables, remember, okay. This is also one of the interview questions. So how can we accommodate the treatment variable if the multiple treatments are present, and how can you accommodate in ADSL? Obviously, it's we can add the variables like the 01, 02, 03, P and A. Okay, actual and planned treatment. Okay, and it's a corresponding numeric variable. And then TRT SEQP. Okay, what is the planned sequence? For example, whenever we have the multiple treatments, what is the sequence? Like it's ABC, BCA, BCB, or BCA, or ABC, whatever the random treatment order, what kind of planned path you have. So that this is the sequence of the treatment we can plan to give. And then, okay, this is a plan, then particular numeric, okay. So for example, ABC is there, like it's a 1, 2, 3. So for example, ACB is there, 1, 3, 2. So likewise, we can give that, okay. And then also the planned is, if the planned is there, actual also will exist. So TRT SEQA is nothing but the actual sequence treatment. For example, we have the treatment sequence ABC, then subject is taken the ACB. So it is a different sequence, and what was the planned, what was the taken actually is the different. So that's why what is the planned sequence, what is the actual sequence, the corresponding numeric variables. Okay. So is that clear, numeric variables? If you have any questions? Okay, I can take it as no. So some example we can see, okay. So for example, the treatment period needed for a single period trials, okay. If you have the any single period trial, for example, screening, treatment 1, follow-up, okay. These are the trial, okay. It's a single period. So for example, in that case, if you can see the study ID, sorry, new subject ID, and the norm is that STF1. So it is nothing but your planned treatment. Okay, TRT01P is the treatment 1, treatment 1, treatment 1, treatment 1. So obviously numeric is 1, 1, 1, 1. Okay, actual also will be there. Why? Because we have only one treatment, right? So that is the actual, this is the planned. Okay, so the treatment 1 and TRT also 1. Okay, this will be shown the single arm or single period trial. Okay. So whenever is the multi-period crossover trial, for example, you have the multiple treatment, that too the crossover is nothing but, for example, we have a treatment 1, treatment 2. For example, treatment 1, treatment 2. So the some particular we have the 20 subjects. The first 10 is randomized to the treatment 1, and then second 10 is randomized to the treatment 2. So okay, and then after a particular time period, they will switch over the treatment, the crossover treatment. The first two have taken the treatment 1, they will move to the treatment 2. So the first two have taken the treatment 2, they will move to the treatment 1. Some
point of time. This is the crossover study, right? So if it's a multi-period crossover study, how it looks like, okay? So our elements would be screening, treatment 1 and treatment 2, and then follow. Okay? So for example, for this example, if you can see, so the actual arm, okay, if you can see the ST1T2F, ST1T2F, okay. So the planned and actual are same here. The treatment 1 and treatment 1, if you can see here, okay. So for this, the two different subject, okay, 1 and 2. So the TRT 01PN, TRT 01PN is 1, okay. The A is the treatment 1 and the treatment 2. The first example, if you can see the first subject, okay, it is planned is treatment 1, actual also treatment 1, okay. And then what he was to take the TRT 02P, take second, okay, you want to switch over the trial treatment, okay. So basically the first subject is randomized first to the treatment 1, later he moved to the treatment 2, okay. So for example, if you can see here, the second subject is first he planned for the treatment 1, but actually what he did, he actually taken the treatment 2 first. The later he should do the treatment 2, but obviously moved to the treatment. Why? Because he already took the treatment 1 in first. Okay. So next, if you can see the third subject, okay, treatment 2, treatment 2, okay. First, this subject is randomized to the treatment 2. Then he moved to the treatment 1. Okay. That's what the planned and actual respective treatment variable shown like this. Okay. So the fourth subject, if you can see, randomized to the treatment 2 first, but they actually taken the treatment 1 first. So the later he moved to the treatment 1, but instead of treatment 1, he shifted to the treatment 2. But because he already taken the treatment 1. So is that clear? This example, you have any question? What we have discussed for the treatment variables? Okay, I can take it as no. We'll move to the next slide. Okay. So the dose variables. Okay. When we are talking about the treatment, not only the treatment groups or treatment names. Okay. So we should discuss about the dose as well. Okay. So the dose is nothing but again here the how they have planned, how they have taken. Okay. So whenever we have the treatment, multiple treatments or multiple doses, then you have the XX, okay, dose 01P, dose 01A. Okay, what was the planned dose? What was the actual dose? Okay, for example, they have planned for the 250 mg for the subject, but instead of 250, subject took the 200. So then the planned is 250 and then the actual taken the 250, so 200. So there's a difference. And then dose units, okay, what was the planned dose units, what was the actual dose units, okay. For example, dose units, okay, this one. Next, okay, timing variables, okay, those are the treatment variables, okay, the timing variables. So timing variables also is very, very important if you want to derive the durations or what kind of, okay, anything, for example, okay, when it was captured and then what is the duration, everything, when it was started, when it was ended, that all depends on what was the time points and all this thing important. So all is under the timing information, all the timing variables, okay. So we'll see what kind of timing variables we will have in the ADSL, okay. So then the timing variables provides the capability of displaying the dates and times of treatment, okay. Obviously the timing variables, it will be show the dates and timing of the treatment, and then can be displayed on the subject, period, or the sub-period and the phase basis, okay. So these dates can be displayed based on the subject wise also, the period wise also, sub-period or phase wise also. Can be used across other analysis data set to determine the timing. Okay, this date variables we can use across the other domains. Okay, so from the ADSL, most of the other domains also we can copy these date variables. So allow for imputation, so can performed if needed for analysis. Okay. When it comes to the date variables, if it's a partial dates or a missing dates, okay, so in that case, how we can handle the partial and missing dates, that will be mentioned in the SAP statistical analysis plan. So the based on the SAP mentioned imputation rules, we have to impute the dates, okay. So for that we will have one more class, okay. I will explain that what is the date imputation, what kind of rules present for the date imputation, we will discuss in detail, okay. So but now you remember is the date imputations, okay. If you can remember, when initially we have discussed, okay, in SDTM level we cannot do any imputations, we will do only standardization, is nothing but the computational method. But when it comes to the ADAM, if the ADAM level the dates can be imputed, again it depends on the trial. If it's a mention in the SAP, then we go ahead for the date imputations, okay. So these are the treatment variables. We can say TRT SDT. It is nothing but the treatment start date. Okay. TRT STM, the treatment time. What is the time of the treatment? This is the date and then this is the time. Again the TRT SDTM. It is nothing but date and time. Okay. So if you can see here, there will be a very like in detailed date and time is captured. Okay. When it was taken and what is the time of taken and then date and time. Okay. Then for example, if the date treatment dates are imputed, okay, then we have the imputation flag as well. Why? Because if it's a partial or missing dates, when we are imputed, the which of the dates is imputed we should identify. So for that, imputation flags also will be present. This is the imputation flag date variable. So TRTSDTF, it is nothing but the date of first exposure imputation flag. For example, the TRTSDT is imputed, this flag should be, will have the some value. What is the value? Will have the Y, M and D. So for example, in the TRTSDTF, it's a date imputation flag contains the Y, then in that case we have imputed the entire date. For example, if it's a M, we have imputed month and day, and then if it's a day, only we have imputed day. So these are the values comes under treatment imputation flag. So again, like the TRTED, it is nothing but the treatment end date and then treatment end time, treatment date and time. Okay, so again 3 variables for the end date. Again, imputation flags also will be there for the end dates and the TRTEDTF, okay, date of the last exposure imputation flag. So again here also we'll have the like, okay, that particular, for example, okay, this is the time flag, look at the last exposure flag, okay. If the date imputation is time, then if it's hours, minutes, seconds will be present. If the date imputation flag is the date and then Y, M and D will be present, okay. So then next, TRT exit SDT, which is nothing but the 0102. Okay, so if you can remember in the previous slide what we discussed, if you have the multiple tree, then 0102 will be represented. Likewise, each and every treatment start and date will be there, right? That's why it is the treatment tree. Okay, the TRT01 SDT is nothing but the treatment started for the first treatment, the second treatment, likewise. Okay. So if you can see this example, okay, so if you can see this example, the treatment timing variable is multi-period crossover trial. If you can see the TRT01P, 01A, 02P, 02A, TRT01 SDT, TRT01 EDT, TRT02 SDT, TRT02 EDT. It is nothing but we have the 2 treatments, the corresponding actual and planned variable and the corresponding start and end date variable. If you can see, all the dates are present. Okay, so these particular, for example, okay, so if you can see the the first 2 and 3 subjects are, we have the dates, okay, and then 4th subject, the second treatment TRT02 SDT, TRT02 EDT dates are missing. Likewise, if you can see this blue color one, this is the partial date, this is the complete missing date. Okay, here the date part is missing, here is entire date is missing. Okay, so if you can see here this is the completed date available. Okay, 8 September 2019, September start and end dates. Okay, so then in that case what we are going to do is that for the same subject, okay, so if you can see that particular date, previous it's 30 September 2019, so now we have imputed to the 30. Okay, so it is the end of the date. Okay, why? Because this is the end date, that's why we have that particular month, what is the last date we have imputed. So there will be rules for that, I will explain laterly for you remember. So we have imputed day, that's why we put the treatment imputation flag is D. Okay, so the next is we have imputed the complete date. Okay, this is 30 September 2019 AD. Okay, so the next, this is the 27th August 2019. Why? Because the treatment start date is the same, that's why we have, okay, so yeah, here if you can see, this is the start and end dates, but whereas it's, if you you can see these missing dates are likewise. While for example, if it's a complete date is missing, there is no rules mentioned. Most of the cases, if completed, then we cannot impute it. But if some trials we will impute if the complete date is missing. It depends on the trial. So that we have to check in the SAP. Okay. So the next is subject level period timing variables. Okay, we have the period wise also. The period is nothing but okay, it's a particular when it's some particular start and date, the end will have the periods, right? So for example, AP, okay, 01 SDT, the period of the first treatment start date. Okay, the period of first treatment time. Okay. So, for example, when it was started, when it was what is the date, what is the time, and what is the date in time. And for that also, we have the invitation flag. Wherever is dates in Adam, most of the cases we have the invitation flag. For that also, again, it is the AP, exec, STMM. Okay, it is a date and then it is a time invitation flag. For end date also, again, it is the same. Period started, period end time, and then period is date and end date and time, and then start and the date imputation rules. Okay, if you can see the time and this one. Okay. Next, phase variables. Okay, not only period, phase wise also will be there. It depends on the trial. Some trials will have the phase wise also. It will be distinguished. Okay, so if there, then the same way will be repeated. Okay, so what is the A phase? A phase is nothing but we can say in SDT level it's a kind of like epoch related, but here it comes to the what kind of phases based on your TLF will define. If we have any particular phases that will be mentioned in clearly mentioned in the sub, based on that you will go and update the things. Okay, so for example, again you have the phase start date and then start time and then start date and time, and then imputation flag for the date and imputation flag for the time. Again the phase the end date, phase the end time, and the phase end date and time. Again it's a date imputation flag and then time integration flag. Okay, that will be repeated. Okay, so those are the treatment related variables, and the treatment related start and end dates, and the timing variables, and then period wise and phase wise we have seen. So is that clear, or you have any questions? Okay then, so we'll move to the disposition variable. So as I said, okay, I have the the disposition information also, some kind of a disposition information we can map into the ADSL. So what kind of information we can have? Okay, so the disposition variable is used to explain your subject's experience in a trial. Okay, so used to explain subject experience means so when it was started, how the subject is randomized, then how the subject is disposition from the study. Like is it terminated from the study, he completed the study, or whatever the how he has gone through the study. So okay, what was the experience, that it will explain the disposition variable. So highest level of user defined impact. Okay, so obviously it will from the start to end it will show the particular subject journey and an experience. Okay, so that's why it's highest level of user defined impact. Allow reviewers to see what happened to a patient during the study life cycle. Okay, so for example the reviewers, who is reviewers? Okay, from the regulatory authority bodies, then how the trial was gone. If you want to see for the subject level, then the when each and every subject, how they have during the study, when it was started, how they were randomized, how they were taken the drug, and then how when they have completed, or when they have terminated, or when they have a discussion from the study. So it will explain that the particular study, particular subject wise. Okay, then can be used to collect the death and then exposure information as well. Okay, the disposition also. So this is also kind of disposition, right? So the death and then exposure information as well. Okay. So when it comes to the disposition related variables, okay, the EVO, SS, TT, okay, and the study TSS. Okay, so whether subject is completed or not, that will explain this one, EVO, SS, TT variable. So EVO, SS, TT, so end of the study date. When the subject is completed the study, on disposition from the study, that ended. If the subject is completed at disposition, what is the reason for the discontinuation from the study? So DCS RES reason. What was the reason? He disposition from the study. Why? I mean, due to the death, or due to the adverse event, due to the termination from the study, or he has completed. What is the reason? Okay. Then then the reason specific discontinuous form study. Okay, if there are any specific reasons in the study level, that we can have it here. Okay, then EOTSTT, end of the treatment status. Okay, so this is the study status, this is the treatment status. Why? What is the difference here is that, okay, some subject, okay, during the trial they can disposition from the study, okay, entirely disposition from the study, but some subject they can disposition from the treatment, but they will still continue in the study. It means, for example, if one of the subject is, okay, they have taken the 2 doses of the test drug, after that he got the severe adverse events, then the principal investigator thought that, okay, we will stop the treatment for this subject, okay, then we can call it as a treatment disposition, but it's not a study disposition. So he will stop the treatment, but then still he will continue in the study. So in that case, okay, we have to check that what is the study status, and then also what is the treatment status, end of the treatment status. And then if it's a disposition from the treatment, then what is the reason they will continue? Most of the cases would be the adverse events. So if there are any study specific reasons, they can mention here. Okay, so these are the some disposition variables. Okay, so along with that, okay, the RFICDTC is nothing but the informed consent date, okay, that is also disposition related, enroll date, when it was enrolled, okay, so, and then randomization date, and then the last known alive, okay, for example is subject is what was the last known alive date, then that is comes here, and then treatment compliance, okay, TRT CMP, the variable to be used to show the percentage of the compliance with the study treatment, okay, so if they want to show the how much percentage they have complied with the treatment, they can show like this, okay, and then the complaints group wise, okay, if they want to show the grouping wise, then they can show, and then TRT DURD, the total treatment duration. So here is nothing but how many days the subject takes their treatment, okay, in days, okay, and then same variable in months also, TRT DURM in months, okay, and then year also, okay, this is in days, this is month, this is in years, okay, depends on the trial. Some studies the TVLS level require the duration days, some trials in months, some trials in the years, so based on that we can choose the variables, okay, and the death date and the death cause, okay, if the subject is died, and that date will be reported here, and then what was the reason why the subject was died, then the cause of death would be reported here, CIUs, okay, these are the some other disposition related variables, okay, so if you can see some kind of example, if you can see here, okay, so this is the subject, okay, this is the end of the treatment, end of the study, and then okay, and then USDV, and then DCS reason, what was the reason for the discontinuation, for example, first subject is completed, okay, what is the completion date, second subject is discontinued, what is the discontinuation, why he has discontinued, due to the death, okay, so for example, if they can see that end of the treatment also discontinued, and then what was the reason, adverse event, so due to adverse event he might died, that's why it is a discontinued, okay, if the fourth subject still ongoing, why, because the subject is still ongoing, obviously this end of the subject, the reason disposition related information is why the subject is still in the trial, okay, and then this is the fourth subject is completed, okay, and then the study is completed, and then treatment is discontinued, why discontinued, the reason mentioned other, and then the what was the specific reason is the missed visit schedule, so the subject is missed the schedule is for the treatment, that's why it's missed, okay. So these are the some disposition related variables, okay, so yeah, so some conclusions what was learned so far in the ADSL, things to consider when creating ADSL, whenever you are creating ADSL, so there are some things you have to remember, what was those we can see now, okay, so the food protocol and the SAP knowledge, okay, so whenever you go for the ADAM data creation, first of all you should understand the trial, okay, okay, you should understand the trial very high level, and also you need to read the SAP, what was the requirement for your trial, okay, one second, and what was the your analysis logics, and what was the analysis related derivations, and the start related derivations, how you are going to derive those, the derivation law, variables you have to create, that you will get an idea. Okay, so that's why before you creating any data set, the most obviously we are going to create the ADSL date, you should understand and read and understand the protocol and then SAP for sure. Okay, so the protocol, okay, what I say, the protocol, obviously before we start the study we will read it, right? So for the SAP, when we before start the ADAM, you should read it. Okay? So the check what subgroup are needed for the analysis. Okay, so you should check in the SAP if there are any subgroup analysis present in the study. For example, if the subgroup means, okay, if we take the example in these slides previously, we have a two grouping related. Okay, age groups are the two different groups. How we can have the subgroups of that? Okay, based on that you have to choose the variables. You have to create the variable. Why? Because if the tables is represent based on the age group wise, then you have these variables. Okay, then you go and create the grouping by subgroup analysis. Okay, so all the required variables is included. Okay, so obviously what kind of required variables present in ADAM, that variable you should make sure that that information will be present in the ADSL dataset. Okay, the check include the variables give adequate information. Okay, so remember that your finally the TLF, so the tables listing phase, what kind of information which we require to create a particular TLF, that information, adequate information we have accommodated into your data sets or not. Okay, that is important. So you have to go through the TLF shells. Based on that you should decide what kind of information, what kind of data points, what kind of variables you can include in the ADSL, that you can keep it. Okay, the patient appears in all the correct populations. Okay, so the population flags, okay, based on your SAP, what kind of analysis flags which you required. Okay, based on the TLF shells, what kind of analysis flags which we required. Okay, we have named it 718 population flag. Along with this we can create some specific study specific population flags also. So what was the requirement and what is the requirement for the analysis flag in this trial, you have to decide, and then those analysis flags you have to create, and each and every subject will be fall in the right population flag, that you have to make sure. So logical order of the variables. So logical order, obviously the what kind of variables are required. Okay, so we have discussed like demographic and then the treatment related, and then subgroup analysis related, and then timing variables or dispersion variables. So these are the logical thinking and logical ordering all the variables. We can keep it into the ADSL. So then only it will need serve for your needs of the TLF creation and all these things. Okay, so these are the very key aspects to when you are going to create ADSL dataset. Not only ADSL, if you go and create any ADAM dataset, that will be completely analysis driven dataset. So obviously you should understand the SAP and the TLF shells. Based on that you can create specifications, and then you can create a datasets. Okay, so that's it for the ADSL. Do you have any slides? Okay, there are one more slide, I guess. Okay, so the final conclusion of ADSL. Okay, ADSL is a required data set in a CDSK submission. You remember, as I said in the very initial also, the ADSL data set is an important data set. The first which we create the data set in ADAM level is ADSL. If you go for CDSK submission, ADSL is the mandatory data set. Okay, so they contain the important information relating to the subject experience in the trial. Okay, so here it will the all important information what we have discussed, the subject experience in the trial, that will explain these variables. So relish heavily on the trial design knowledge. Okay, whenever we go through that ADSL dataset, we can understand what is this trial, how this they have how many treatments we have, how they are randomized, how they have taken, how they are disposition, what kind of treatment phases we have. So if you can see this, okay, the trial design datasets also you can understand from here. The forms the basis of future ADAM datasets and analysis. Okay, so obviously whenever it forms like, okay, for example, when you create a very initial the ADSL dataset, based on that some key information, some core variables, you can take it from ADSL and keep it the BDS and then occurrence dataset as well, because that is required for your analysis, future analysis perspective. Okay, so yeah, that's it for that was the last slide. Okay, so what was we have discussed. Okay, so when we are writing spec and programming, we can understand what is the requirement of this ADSL and all this thing. Okay, yeah, so is that clear? You have any question on ADSL? What we
I have wondered, so if this slide is available in the server?
no, this is my personal slides.
Okay. I'll probably, if you don't mind, can you please share this slide?